Hello, everybody. My name's Host Eric. I'm here with Han Solo, aka Host Nick, aka the man with the plan, and we are talking tonight about a specific other individual, and Nick and me and other individuals in the room. And one thing that Nick said before we started recording was, "So, are we going to specifically be talking about saren?" And I said, "Well, yeah. For one thing, all this stuff is public record. The whole idea of the raw room is that it's recorded 24/7, 365. Is it actually recorded 24/7, 365? No. There are continual massive drop periods with bugs and tech problems and stuff.
You
But that's
try though.
we try, you know. And anyhow, the point is, that's hopefully what it is that it's sort of a permanent record of people's lives in a way that other social media doesn't preserve or publish and or utilize the YouTube framework, etc., etc. So that means for me, it's absolutely fair game to talk about it after the fact, and there's no reason not to because my very keen interest in actually talking about this is because I think it relates closely to issues of social grace, justice, and other stuff like that. So uh, let me start by saying a little bit of my background, a little bit of this story before I turn the background part of this more over to Nick because he's much more involved in the details of the background of it than I am. But from my perspective, what I encountered was myself not checking my Facebook messages all day. And it turned out that I had actually gotten one around 1 p.m. or something like that from Janelle, indicating that she had received something that concerned her a little bit. But I hadn't checked my Facebook messages. So when I went in the evening and Nick came in or I don't know if I came in when you were already starting or what, or did you come in after I was here? I don't remember. Regardless, Nick comes in or I come in and he begins to discuss Saren's ill-advised courtship attempt, I think is fair to call it, regarding Janelle, um, and there was an exchange in which Nick was highly critical of Saren and kind of busting his chops, and I think there was a moment where I felt as though sometimes when you're watching an MMA fight, I have the same feeling, and somebody's getting fucking ground and pounded, and you go, stop the fight, because he's just like looking like boom, and his fucking face is getting pounded in, right? So I had that feeling a little bit. So Nick, now you take over.
Um, I mean, you summed it up quite well. Other than what the reason I got myself concerned with it because me and Jenna like each other. I'm a fan of hers. Been talking to her. It's off go to meeting thing, which is interesting to me because I never thought I would get into a situation like that. But anyhow,
Tiny interruption. I'm sorry. For the record, for anybody who's not familiar with the room, Janelle is a woman who's a regular participant in the room. Nick here is obviously a regular participant in the room. Saren's another regular
beautiful.
participant who does not. Saren is one person who does not go on camera. So we've heard his voice, we've seen him in the chat and stuff, but he doesn't go on camera. But anyway, those are the three individuals. They're regulars in the room and around talking with famous people. They've been around for a while. Janelle most recently, but the other two for quite some time now. Yada yada yada. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
Um, yeah, and so Saren had messaged Janelle on the MBTV Slack thing, some stuff like he was talking to her about trying to type her, and um, it's at one point sent her a 5-year proposal plan for a relationship thing and stuff like that, and and then had messaged her several times through right before leading up to that while she was in the room. So he sent her private messages, and it had a lot to do with like, why are you letting this guy objectify you and things like that. And then she felt that it made her uncomfortable. It was strange to her. He wasn't very he would tell her something and then not be too receptive to what she would say afterwards. And when I have like an inner circle of particularly my mom, my sister, any girl that I'm friends with, any girl that I'm infatuated with, any girl that I like, I kind of get in this little inner circle where I don't care as much as the logic, the logical fallacies of somebody doing something like that, or that it doesn't make sense to do. All I care about is that person doesn't feel good about a man doing something to them in any way. It doesn't even have to make sense. I could be actually, otherwise, if it wasn't somebody in that kind of inner circle, I could even occasionally agree with the guy, probably otherwise. But Janelle said, this is how I'm feeling, it's making me uncomfortable, and I said, can I say something about it? And she said yes. So I proceeded to say something about it. But
okay, so let me pause you for 1 second. So there ends Act 1, the Justifications Act, in which we hear all the various justifications. Now let's hear the self-critical part, and then afterwards we're going to go to the what have we learned part, I bet, or something equivalent. I don't know. This is ENTP. This is high-level ENTP behavior right here. It's solid, reliable strategy. I just want to say, as far as I appreciate Nick's thoroughness. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I didn't. I watched the. You said to give details. There's details.
Nick, I may sound wry. I sound wry in my tone, but I'm completely fucking serious. I appreciate all this shit, and I wish I could be more like less distant and less ironic sounding. But it's just it pleases me to witness. It's good. It's a happy thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay, cool. Is it go to meet.meet/famous?
Go to meet.me.
Me.
And then it's the slash that's underneath the question mark.
She actually might join.
Well, that would be highly interesting. That would be fantastic.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Let's proceed. Okay, I'm already thinking we're gonna go ahead. I'm already thinking we're gonna edit in pieces from last night's Raw video too to make this.
Oh man,
that's gonna be great.
Okay, so, yep, she's joining.
All right. But first, go ahead and continue where you left off. Well, you finished the justifications. Now you're on to the
justifications.
Now you're on to describing how you went overboard.
Yeah, I went overboard. I didn't necessarily care about explaining the grievances, explaining why. I didn't do any justification last night. I just said I kind of attacked the guy. Like you said, you kind of you felt like you're trying to be the ref throwing in the, stopping the fight. But that's why I called you and was like, hey, do you want to make a video about this? Because I don't think that Saren meant any ill will. I mean, you're allowed to pursue women. You just are. You're supposed to. I hope you do. And I hope that. I also said something. Part of the reason that Janelle wanted this to be kind of in the open, in case anybody else, even if it wasn't Saren, anybody else was doing these kinds of things in the room, and there was other women the same thing happening too. So it's not very helpful when I approached it how I did without giving any kind of explanation as to why it was maybe wrong or why it's not the best thing to do. It's in neither person's best interest. And then give any suggestions as to what could have been done differently, which I think is potentially helpful. So
yeah, well, I will say this, that had I dealt with it in a more timely fashion, or talked to you about it. See, if I had gotten the message before, I wouldn't have sent Janelle the response that I sent her, which was very much like corporate, like Thanks so much for contacting me about this thing. That was the response I ended up sending her.
So you didn't read it?
Because by the time I read it, it had already happened last night. I read it.
Gotcha.
I read her message after that. So then I sent her this very corporate-y response, like, "Thanks for contacting me. But I'm sorry I didn't read my messages earlier. Just really corporate-y sounding response." But it just seemed the best response at the time. I don't know. I liked feeling corporate, like this is an official enterprise or something.
Hey, roll with it.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing about the whole endeavor is, I can totally pretend it's an official endeavor of some sort, and people just go along with it completely.
Hey, you should. It is.
Oh, yeah,
You're trying to make it a corporate endeavor. You're trying to make it that. So
it is a corporation.
yeah,
It's a corporation.
Act as such. Keep doing that. Do your thing. Boy, you're gonna have to chop the hell out of this, aren't you?
Yeah, that's fine. Now that I know this is the thing. Once I know I'm gonna edit it, then I get sloppy.
I was noticing. That's why I'm like, okay, so I can be sloppy now too.
Okay. All right. So look, let's pause here for a second. Actually, I'm gonna stop this video and then we'll start another one. Since I'm gonna be editing it, might as well have more than one video. It's fine.